there's a big sort of energy bottleneck coming in the country. There's huge energy demands, reindustrialization, electrification, but also significant demands from the tech industry. They need gigawatts and gigawatts of power, and they need that to, a lot of the time to be off grid, to be co-located with them, and need to be output power consistently over decades. And like that's put them in bed with nuclear, and it's kind of why there's this hot space at the moment in the nuclear industry. And you're seeing so much investment go into it. The US is trying to build back nuclear infrastructure as fast as it can, just to enable this sort of massive scale up of nuclear power. So our company is obviously involved in that. We make advanced reactor systems. They're a lot smaller than the conventional ones, but the idea here is that you can produce these things and sort of roll them out like products and deploy them and assemble them and output power anywhere.
Meta, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, all these big names seem to be going nuclear. And in your own words, it seems as though we're in the middle of a nuclear renaissance. What do you make of this, in particular, in regards to the tech sector?
Well, I would say this is a pretty unprecedented time. Previously with nuclear, everyone always thought a renaissance was coming with it because theoretically it should be the cheapest and easiest form of power in the world. But it never really came. But what's happened now is that say, for instance, if you're a big data center, if you are the Googles or the Microsofts of the world, you need a lot of power. But even if you were to have all the gas and coal that you needed, or with anything like that, you would still need to massively upgrade the national grid to a point where it could begin outputting the power that you require. And the infrastructure costs that would be involved in upgrading the grid might be $5 trillion, something like that. So they're not in the business of doing that, but they need the power. So with nuclear, you don't need to be on the grid. You could be off grid, and you could just build a reactor wherever you want and use a microgrid, and then outlay the power through that system to a data center or an AI center, anything like that. So the tech industry has sort of settled on this as the solution, the long-term solution. And then in the interim, they'll do anything. It'll be geothermal. They'll use gas. They'll use wind and solar as much as they can. But like in their long-term strategy, they realize that for what they actually need, the large scale of it, nuclear is going to have to be a major component, if not the largest component of that solution.
All right, your company, Nano Nuclear Energy, it's got a market cap of 1.8 billion. The stock is up 300% over the trailing 12 months. It's up 73% year to date. It's up 13% today. I think you sold some technology to somebody. I go to your P&L. You don't have a nickel of revenue. What is going on with your stock? Explain to me what the investment theme is out there in the marketplace for your company.
It's the same with every advanced reactor company at the moment. They're all in the same boat. We're all building things. But the reason why Nano has particular interest is that we have construction projects already scheduled. We have a big project. They're going to be building the US's first microreactor at the University of Illinois, and we actually should be building Canada's first microreactor at the same time up at Chalk River on Canadian Nuclear Laboratory land. So there's huge interest in what we're doing. And so we're getting an enormous amount of support. And what the institutional investment is doing now is that they're hedging their bets. They know that nuclear is going to take off, and now they're beginning to bet on companies. And there's already a sort of a convergence of, in a hot sector, you'll have 20 companies come out of the woodwork, but already they're sort of being squeezed down to a handful of leading companies, and we're one of them. And that's why you're seeing like this huge market interest in us, because it's positioning, everyone's positioning themselves for essentially the future.
Well, we definitely touched on your stock performance here. Tell me what sets you apart from your competitors, though.
So, I mean, we've kept things very simple. We know that the technology we're utilizing is going to work. High temperature gas reactors have been used for decades. All we're doing is scaling them down. But on top of that, we're actually utilizing a special form of fuel which eliminates the necessity to have all these redundant safety systems. You can co-locate with, if it was a data center and AI, you could be pressed right up against them. You could even be sited in the middle of a population center. There's no risk to anybody around you because the reactor has no chance of having a meltdown in the way a conventional civil nuclear power plant can. So it's a very different kind of tech. And so, and already more novel techs, I think, are having a bit of a struggle. Whereas for instance, high temperature gas reactors that utilize TRISO. That seems to be almost the most popular model amongst developers at the moment. And so we've got that. But one of our better strategies is that we've made a reactor as big as you can possibly make it and still move all the components by road. And that means we will be able to have factory level processes that just continuously manufacture these things. We can ship everything by road, assemble it there. And then we don't need to have big construction projects at the site itself with individual licensing processes. So we're simplifying things as much as we possibly can. That's why we've proven to be pretty popular.
I'm just looking at kind of what's moving your stock here. I know that you guys recently signed a letter of intent for the proposed sale of its Odin low pressure coolant micro design to Cambridge Atom Works, a UK-based company. Talk to us about that deal.
So we were streamlining the company. We have a reactor called the Kronos reactor. That's our flagship product. That's the one we'll be building at University of Illinois and at Chalk River in Canada. And the other reactors that we were developing, like the Loki reactor and the Zeus reactor, they were also high temperature gas reactors. So the Odin reactor, it's a fantastic system. But we let the technical team take that on to develop themselves so we can concentrate fully on that Kronos reactor. So that streamlining of the organization is obviously very important. We're scaling up very quickly, but we're going to need 95% of our technical personnel working on this Kronos reactor. Right. And when you're focused like that and building, it does have a positive market influence.